I'm talking today to the Austrian-German biologist Christl Meyer, who has proven that the HIV virus does not exist. Christl, could you tell us something about your qualifications, please?
I studied at the University of Marburg in Germany, and I studied chemistry, biochemistry, biology, and I did my scientific work in medical microbiology concerning virus and antibodies.
And this research brought you to look at the HIV virus, and you discovered there is no such thing. Is that correct?
It was later that I did my research on AIDS and HIV, but with this background, it was very interesting for me to do research in this area.
And you found out that what looks like the HIV virus is actually a gene in our immune system.
Yes, I found out by doing research when I taught the students in Belize, Central America, in microbiology, that the genes of our immune system, which are called human leukocyte antigen genes, are the cause for testing positive, because they are very variable, and by gene expression we produce RNA and proteins, and these just make the test positive. But nothing is coming from outside, it's a production from inside, and it does not mean that we are sick or have a disease.
Another problem you point out is that the HIV tests are not standardized.
Yes, the tests are not standardized, they vary all over the world. So you can take a test in Africa and fly with your result to France. If you were tested positive in Africa, you are negative in France. And let's say you test positive in Germany, go with your result to Australia, there you would be named negative.
So the whole HIV testing system is totally capricious.
Yes, it is, because there is no standard. A virus has never been proved, and without a standard you cannot really establish a test system. And the tests vary all over the world, and they change from time to time.
So, Christl, what is your view of the treatment for this non-existent virus? Does it actually harm people?
The medical treatment in the beginning was really hard, because it was a high doses of ACT, acetotumidine, and this really disturbs DNA, and this was a problem for those who had to take the medication because they died of the drugs. And now the drugs today, we have more drugs, but they are not as hard as before. But as there is no virus, we have to treat just the diseases people have, because there is no new disease. It's just old diseases with new name.
So you are saying the treatment could actually be more harmful than the disease?
You see, the normal thing for a medical doctor is to find out which disease a patient has, do the analyzing, and then treat. So if you have a wrong diagnosis, the treatment is also not the best.
You mentioned that certain flu vaccines had to be withdrawn from the market because the people who take these vaccines could test positive for HIV.
Yes, there was recently a flu vaccine that was retracted from the market. They did not say they retracted it because of the positive testing after the vaccine, although it is in the leaflet, but they said because of small side effects.
So it's actually in the leaflet that if you take this vaccine you can test positive?
Yes, it's in the leaflet.
So that means somebody who takes a flu vaccine could be falsely diagnosed with HIV and given these harmful drugs?
Yes, it's like this. And also you see, people are trying to find a vaccine against HIV, and if you give a shot against HIV, you will test positive. That's normal. because after vaccination you test positive for the antibodies.
So the vaccine is giving people really the HIV.
If they will do it and there are tests, then people test positive. That's why they do research to find out which positive test comes from a vaccine and which positive test does not come from a vaccine. But this absolutely makes no sense.
Why do so many people in Africa test positive for the HIV virus?
Africa is just a special genetic factor because people have different genes. That does not mean they have disease genes, they just test more often positive because of their background.
So basically the HIV test is testing for a certain genetic factor?
Yes, it is testing for gene expression factors.
It's testing actually then for a genetic factor which is very common in Africa?
Yes, it's testing for this. And it's more common in Africa than in other parts of the world.
And African people then receive this very harmful treatment?
Yes, if healthy people receive the harmful treatment, this really is a genocide.
Can you tell me a little bit about pregnant women?
Yes, pregnant women produce more antibodies instead of attacking the strange cells because the fetus in their body has 50% genes of the father. That's why they have to shift the immune system to produce more antibodies, because this protects the fetus from attack.
What about diseases like malaria or tuberculosis?
You see, some of the people in Africa suffer from these diseases and also from a lack of pure drinking water, and that is why they are sick. But the diseases have to be diagnosed correctly and treated correctly.
Are they often misdiagnosed as HIV?
There is often a misdiagnosis as HIV, and also medical doctors say if they say people have HIV, they receive more money and more funding, as if they claim them to have tuberculosis or malaria.
Why do you think so many homosexuals are diagnosed with HIV?
Homosexuals might have an overload of proteins which make them positive in the test, and also in former times, I don't know if now, homosexuals took some drugs to have better feeling, and they just had problems with drugs, and this also turned the test positive.
So there is no correlation between homosexuality and HIV?
There is no correlation between homosexuality and the virus. There might be some allergy against the proteins from the partner, but this is like a normal allergy and not a disease. But this could just render the test positive.
So it sounds to me, Christl, as though this is a kind of genocide against people in Africa, against women who are producing the next generation of children, and against homosexuals. Would you agree with this?
I agree that this is a genocide.
If people want more information on this, Christl, where can they get it?
They can look at my website, which you will find here, and also they might write me an email and find informations and ask questions.
Thank you, Christl, for explaining that to us. You can find more information on Christl's website. It is www.christl-meyer-science.net. That is CHRISTL-MEYER-science.net. Thank you, Christl.
Thank you very much.